especially webinar, and this webinar is on Vietnam, a promising land for ICT investment. We all know during this lockdown, the COVID crisis, the importance of ICT. The ICT, the emergence has only gone up. So the relevance and significance of ICT industry is just going up. Post-COVID, I think today the world's largest sector is petroleum, but I think very soon ICT will be the largest sector in terms of its volume, employment and trade. So in that way, the purpose of today's webinar is business networking between the business communities joining from these three important countries, India, Vietnam, and now Nepal. Building synergy, our purpose is that we should be able to build synergy between ourselves, that how can we collaborate? Because post-COVID, in this 20th and 21st century, this secret of success is going to be collaboration. How can we collaborate also? The third would be exploring collaborations between India, Vietnam, and Nepal, so that we can explore more synergy. But the end objective is to understand the potential of Vietnam overall, to understand the macro dynamism or dynamics of this beautiful country, and what is the potential for ICT investment in Vietnam. Some basic instructions, which I'll repeat a couple of times again, is just to keep yourself in mute mode. The speakers will be made co-host of this conference, so speakers can unmute themselves. We will keep all our respected participants in mute mode. The moment we go, there are two sections of this. So these are the prominent speakers that we have today. So we will have 5 to 7 minutes. Each of these speakers will speak about, speak from their point of view on the issue, and on also how can we collaborate between each other. Post that, we will have an interactive session. So I'll again just to show you the sessions we have. So here is the flow of the event. So we have two sessions. One is the inaugural session, where we have the Ambassador Excellency briefing us, and Mr. Ha is joining now. Thank you so much, Mr. Ha, joining us for this important program. Mr. Nguyen Thanh Ha is the Chief Executive Officer of Tam Viet Investment Advisory in Vietnam. Soon we'll be joined by the Deputy Director General of International Cooperation Department in Ministry of Information Technology, Government of Vietnam. And the chair of today's webinar is His Excellency Mr. Pham Sam Chao, the Ambassador of Vietnam to India and Nepal. The prominent speakers, as you can see, we have Mr. Narayan Thapa, Secretary General of Federation of Computer Association, CAN Federation, Nepal. We have Mr. Firoz Khan, who is the Partner and Head Digital Advisory, KPMG. We have Mr. Pramod Kumar, who is the Country Head of Tech Mahindra, one of the top 5 IT software consulting companies of India. Mr. Kunal Sinha, who is the Head International Operations at Wipro. And we have Mr. Vikas Gurung, as I told, the President of Robotics Association of Nepal. Because when we talk about IT, we often just focus about software, outsourcing or consulting. But ICT is a very large sector, and I think in coming time, you all know, because you belong to this industry, artificial intelligence, blockchain, and robotics are going to have a bigger slice of the entire cake in this sector. And we also have Mr. Shad Rahman, who is the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Fixman Technologies. So other than the development of ICT infrastructure, I think there is one more sector, is the repairing and service sector, which is equally big. That is also a multi-billion-dollar sector. So I thought to have one of our speakers from this particular sector, so that we can have also a slice of understanding about the repairing and service sector of this, because that without service and repairing, the ICT sector cannot survive and thrive. So Mr. Shad Rahman is one of the rising young entrepreneurs of India, whose business is expanding like anything as the sector is growing. As sales will grow, I think the services need will also grow. So in the service collaboration, there is immense potential. So we also will have Mr. Bui Thong, who is the head of the trade section, who will finally give the vote of thanks. This is just for your brief understanding.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akram. It was a pleasure listening to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Saad, joining. So we'll start from 12:30, so we have 20 minutes. So Mr. Thor, Mr. Bui, are you there, sir? Can you come in video?
Yes, I'm your brother. How are you?
Very well.
Yeah. Good.
So
Yeah,
nice
great to see you again. Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, okay.
So we have the companies from India, Nepal joining us.
Yeah.
So we have two important, ICT leaders from Nepal joining us. Mr. Guru is here.
I just saw the program. Yeah, thank you very much. It's very prominent speaker, right?
Yeah.
Great.
So Mr. Shad Rahman is one of the promising, young talents of India, entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And his business, he's in the service sector.
Mm-hmm.
So service means repairing, refurbish. That's a big sector. Then some of the speakers will be joining us soon. So we have in the chat box, if anyone have any query or anyone would like to add anything or say anything, I would be very happy. And I'd like to invite to all our respected participants, if you want to say a few words or anything, or expectation from the program. So you can say a few words.
So thank you so much, Mr. Akram. It was like, I feel personally that this is going to be a very informative session, as because this is hitting one of the major key points that today everyone is concerned of, that what is next to China, where we head next. So I think today's discussion would be very, very fruitful for all the industries. And as you well said, that all the industries are growing today, and in this particular crucial time, we need an alternative solution, a better solution, so that we can carry on with the business in the same manner we were working on it on the earlier ways. But I hope that today's discussion would keep us, would actually ensure us that we have all the basic knowledge of a rising new, we can say, country which has so much to offer. Absolutely. And that's why we are here for. So I'm personally looking forward to it. And it's always great, talking to you because you're such a wonderful moderator. You're so pleasant, and I think that's the best thing. So let's have a healthy discussion. Thank you.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. So we'll have a complete understanding about Vietnam and also complete understanding about the potential of the ICT sector in Vietnam. And now I see a different triangle, Vietnam, India, and Nepal, because Nepal is also our very nice neighbor, and we always wish the best to Nepal, and we want to work with Nepal because neighbors are very important part of the growth story that we all want to see. So I'd be very happy to see how India, Nepal, and Vietnam can collaborate. So Mr. Virinder Singh is saying that great to be here. Auxilio Vertex Tech. Virinder sir, you can also say the same in voice.
Yeah, sure, Akram. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Virender Singh. I'm from Auxilio Bits Technologies. We are into process automation and RPA. It will be great to know more about Vietnam's potential, in its workforce and infrastructure. Yeah, so looking forward to it.
Excellent, sir.
Thank
I think Dr. Kanwar Deep, you have also raised your hand, sir. Kanwar sir.
Thank you so much to notice my hand. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I think took a long time.
No, it's okay because unless until you will not allow me, I will not speak. Thank you so much. So, firstly, I would like to say Chao Boi Tro. It's a Vietnamese. I believe I pronounced correctly. Good afternoon to all. I'm Dr. Kawar from Connecting Patient LLP. We are looking for a collaboration for tourist, healthcare, and education in the field of education. We are already working in CIS country with the with CIS countries as well as African countries. We are looking for enter in Vietnam also. Vietnam is a good country and very close friend to us. So looking forward a collaboration where we can play a bridge in between Vietnam and India. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, and looking forward this wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I think we also have Rajkot President, Rajkot IT Association's President joining us here.
Yes, very good afternoon, everyone.
How are you? Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, very fine. So we are representing the Rajkot Information Technology Association that is situated in the state of Gujarat in India. And we are in a group of ITITS companies catering their services to the clients in India as well as across the globe. And we have a very strong company associations over here who are working in the varied technologies. So yes, we are also looking forward to expand the base for our peer companies so that we can collaborate efficiently for delivering our services and expanding our reach to the Vietnam and other countries in the Asian parts as well. So thank you for inviting us.
It's a pleasure, sir. I'll be very happy to hear from you during the discussion also.
Yeah.
I'll know because we wanted to invite you and it took a little long to have you.
Can I?
Yes, sir. Yes, Rupesha.
Yeah. Basically, we are into the web and mobile app development from Vadodara, Gujarat, India. And we are into IT business since last 25 years. We have a couple of projects based on AI, IoT also. And recent development which we have done that is on electric vehicle charging infrastructure, network setup using the IoT. It is real-time charger monitoring system which we are doing. And looking for expansion of the same into other countries as well.
Very good. So, Mr. Asif Kamal, sir, I think my team has high regard for you because they were chasing you. I think they were in touch with you. Yeah, you are in mute, sir. You have to unmute yourself. We can't hear you, sir.
Sorry, it was muted. Yeah, so thank you so much. I was chasing them for the passcode. It did come through. Thank you so much. I just want to hear out and just wanted to understand the repatriation laws from Vietnam. If one is to set up something there, how does the foreign exchange repatriation laws work there?
I see. That's an interesting one. So our special guest of the afternoon, Mr. Tu and Ham are joining. I think
hi.
Yeah, hi.
Okay.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So excellent. I'm really excited for today's discussion because it's going to be a different one. We have been the Policy Times has been working with the embassy since more than 1.5 years now, and we have done many programs, events, webinars on different sectors. ICT is the one that we are having the discussion today, and I think it is one of the most elite and futuristic sectors. So we need a lot of collaboration and understanding between these two and now 3 countries. So I am used to talking about 2 countries. Now we are 3 countries. Just let me give a small brief intro before our Excellency joins. So bit about, so today's discussion is Indo-Vietnam. This is part of Indo-Vietnam Business Forum 2020, a series of webinars in the Corona time and a lot of events before the Corona. So coupling together, we are organizing a series of programs to create awareness in India and neighboring countries about Vietnam, to understand the potential of this beautiful country called Vietnam, and how the world can explore Vietnam. That's the overall purpose. Then this lead to how can we, coming to the action part of it, that how can we actually make some collaborations between India and Vietnam. Now we have also Nepal on board. So how can we collaborate to each other at the company, organization level, at the government level? And how can we then lead to some real business exchange from this beautiful country? Now, Vietnam, when I say business exchange, there are 2 parts of it. One is trade, the other part is investment. So primarily we want to focus on the part that Vietnam is a promising land of investment for the world. And not only that, Vietnam is also a gateway to do trade and business with the world. So with this, I'll just say a few words about the country, and from 12:30 we'll start, and then I'll say a few words about the program, and then I will introduce our special guests joining us and speakers joining us today. So Vietnam's development story starts 30 years back, and since 30 years it has been remarkable and amazing. Since 1986, after the political and economic reform under Doi Moi, the country has been transformed from one of the world's poorest nations to one of the lower middle income countries today. But it is going to be one of the upper middle income countries very soon. So during this Corona time, the Corona crisis or COVID-19 crisis, we saw there are 2-3 countries which are witnessing a positive economic growth. One is Bangladesh, the other is Vietnam and China. So Vietnam post-COVID will be one of few countries which will be witnessing a positive growth also. The second is in from 22 to 2018, the GDP per capita of Vietnam has grown 2.7 times, reaching to $2,700 in 2019. But the biggest growth story that I often say is that we have heard about China or India lifting millions of people out of poverty, but in terms of proportion of the population ratio, Vietnam perhaps is the first country or the first country to uplift maximum amount of population in terms of proportion out of poverty. So since 1980s, Vietnam has lifted 45 million people out of poverty. So that's a remarkable actually journey and remarkable story. So 45 million means half of the population they have lifted out of poverty. So the poverty rate in Vietnam has also declined from 70% in 1980s to just 6% in today's time. Even during Corona crisis, the economic growth is expected somewhere between 3 to 4%. It is also one of the growing in terms of population. Currently, it has in 2018, Vietnam has 97 million people from 60 million people in 1986. And it is expected to grow to 120 million by 2050. But more than that, the 70% of the population of Vietnam are, below or under the age of 35. And their life expectancy is 76 years, which is highest among its income strata. But the biggest achievement so far that I see is the Vietnam ranks 48 out of 157 countries in human capital index, only second after Singapore, which means that Vietnam has been able to, leverage or put its people into workforce more than any country in Asia, the South and Southeast Asia. That's a remarkable achievement. So Bangladesh and Vietnam are doing wonderful development and growth in this sector. So after some time, we'll start, I'll say a few words about the ICT sector and then we'll start introducing our speaker. So good afternoon, Excellency. So we have
good afternoon.
We have the Ambassador, His Excellency Mr. Pham Sam Chow, joining us. So we have the ICT players of India and Nepal, Excellency, joining us today. Mr. Thapa, are you here? If you can hear us, I'll be very happy to introduce you. So we have our speakers, some speakers have joined, Excellency. So Mr. Narayan Thapa is joining. And some speakers from Tech Mahindra and KPMG and Wipro, they'll be also joining us soon.
Hello all, very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Thapa. Can you come on video?
Yes.
So Excellency, I want to introduce Mr. Narayan Thapa, who is the Secretary General of Federation of Computer Association of Nepal. In short, it is called CAN Federation, one of the largest, in fact, the largest chamber in Nepal in the ICT sector.
Yes.
So it's 12:30. So, Excellency, if you can start, then I'll. Thank you, Mr. Kamal. So to all our respected participants and representatives, if you have any question, or you can keep sharing your contact details in the chat box. And if you have any query or any kind of views or opinion, you can put there in the chat box. So we will take the questions if you have to the panel. So as I shared, that these are two parts we have. We have the inaugural session, and then we have a sectoral session.
Can I ask?
Yeah, so now we are not open to question and answer, but if you have any feedback, you can share. No issue.
Then I will talk later. No problem. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So ICT is one of the elite sectors, and I'm really happy that we have the companies joining us today. Excellency?
Yes.
If you allow, then can we start? It's 12:30.
Yes, please. Yes.
Just to share a few things, I have already briefed a little, and welcome all with permission from Excellency Ambassador Pham Sam Chao, the Ambassador of Vietnam to India and Nepal, and respected Mr. Juan An Thu, the Deputy Director General of International Cooperation Department, Ministry of Information Technology, Government of Vietnam, Mr. Nguyen Thanh Ha, the Chief Executive Officer, Tam Viet Investment Advisory Vietnam, and Mr. Narayan Thapa, Secretary General, Federation of Computer Association of CAN Federation of Nepal, Mr. Vikas Gurung, President Robotics Association of Nepal, and Mr. Saad Rahman, Chief Executive Officer and Founder of Fixman Technologies in India. Two more speakers will be joining us soon. Mr. Bui Thong, Head of Trade Section, Embassy of Vietnam to India, and all my respected delegates joining us, ICT, especially from the ICT sector. Vietnam's ICT industry has witnessed a 26.1% growth in 2015 and 19 period. And it is one of the major economic sectors in the country, generating a revenue of $110 billion in 2019. And especially the mobile phones and computers are ranked number 1 and number 3rd among Vietnam's top 10 export staples in 2019, with a combined value of $28 billion, making Vietnam world's second largest manufacturer of phones and components and 10th producer of electronic appliances and components. Vietnam aims to have around 50,000 IT and electronic and telecommunication companies, of which 10 large companies will have a revenue of at least $1 billion each. So today's discussion is about to understand the potential of Vietnam and see how can you as an ICT player explore Vietnam as a potential destination for investment. Just to introduce the chair of the afternoon today, Ambassador Pham Sam Chao. Ambassador is a diplomat and educator with diverse international experience in multilateral affairs, cultural diplomacy, education, and world heritage. He was the Assistant Minister for Foreign Affairs, Special Representative of the Prime Minister of Vietnam on UNESCO affairs. He represented Vietnam at UNESCO for many years on many occasions. He served as Secretary General of the Vietnam National Commission for UNESCO and also the Director General of Cultural Diplomacy and UNESCO Affairs Department in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He was Vietnam's youngest ambassador and permanent delegate of Vietnam to UNESCO. He was appointed by the President of Vietnam later on as ambassador to Belgium, Luxembourg, and European Commission, where he played an instrumental role in negotiations between European Union and Vietnam to develop EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement and later EU-Vietnam Dialogue on Human Rights. He also led an active role in a lot of international conferences that Vietnam participated in, including APEC Summit, ASEAN Summit, ASEM, and many more. So I would request our chair of the afternoon, His Excellency Ambassador Pham Son Chau, to kindly deliver the welcome and keynote speech.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akram. Let me first, am I audible?
Yes, Excellency, you're audible.
Yeah. A very good afternoon to all of you. Let me first begin our session by thanking Akram Hawk and the Foreign Policy for coming up with us to organize this webinar. This is the 5th webinar that the Embassy has organized in the context of Indo-Vietnam Business Forum 2020 that include around 10 webinars and events evolving on different sectors that I believe that Vietnam and Indian business people can work closely together. So today is the topic on investment in the sector of technology. As you may be aware of the fact that in our bilateral relations, we have identified IDC is as one of the 4 key sectors. The other 3 key sectors is agro products, because we do a lot of trade with India. The second sector, which is also very important, is textile and garment, because Vietnam exported on the annual basis around 45 billion US dollars per year. So we need to import a lot of yarns and textile from India. And the third sector, which is also very important, but I hope that we can see a flourishing cooperation between Vietnam and India, namely the pharmaceutical sector. So the 4th sector is ITC. So when it comes to ITC, for the Vietnamese people, when we talk about India, normally 2 things that will come immediately to the mind is that India is the land where Lord Buddha was born and he got enlightenment. So many Vietnamese Buddhists, they would like to have a lifetime dream of being able to come to India and especially to Gaya to pay tribute to Lord Buddha. And the second idea that comes normally to the mind of the ordinary people is that India is very famous for technology, IT. I mean, it's for us, you are more popular in terms of ITC than in terms of pharmaceutical. Therefore, we consider you as the second Silicon Valley. That is why we give a great importance to our cooperation with India in the sector of ITC. Before moving a little bit further down, and I also look forward to have the opportunity to talk on the individual basis, which each and every of you about business opportunity in Vietnam. Let me share with you a number of good news. I have listened to the pre-webinar presentation.
Excellency, you got muted by mistake. So can you unmute yourself?
I have heard the pre-webinar presentation made by Mr. Akram Hock about the recent development of Vietnam. But the two most recent good news is that according to the forecast by the International Monetary Fund, this year, Vietnam will surpass Singapore and Malaysia to become the fourth largest economy in Southeast Asia. And next year, Vietnam will surpass the Philippines. Thanks to its positive growth in Vietnam and some negative growth of other economies, Vietnam will become the third largest economy in Southeast Asia, just behind Indonesia and Thailand. So this is a very positive news because this year Vietnam will be able to register a 2 to 3.0 growth rate for its GDP. So it's the first good news. The second good news also in this sector of ITC is that over the past 1 year and a half, I have personally been involved in helping HCL to set up its business in Vietnam. They are going to invest around 650 million US dollar in order to make Hanoi the biggest outside India station in terms of ITC development. So they are going to train and to recruit around, I think, annually 10,000, but maximum is perhaps 100,000 engineer, still IT engineer, in order to make a huge hub of ITC in Vietnam. So although we don't have the flag at the moment, but we also can connect them and take them to Vietnam. So I hope that by the end of this month, HCL will start its operation officially in Vietnam despite the COVID. But you know that Vietnam is one of the very few countries, if not the country, which is able to put under control the pandemic. At the moment, we have total cases over the past 9 months, more than 1,000 cases, and 85% have been recovered. We just have few cases which are imported cases. For like recently, we have organized a charter flight from India to Vietnam, and we discovered there are 16, now today is 18 Indians tested positive among the remaining more than 200 active cases. So having said that, I want to stress that Vietnam is doing very well in terms of controlling the pandemic, but at the same time, Vietnam is doing well in opening up its economy and make sure that all the economic activities are functional. Now, I also want to bring to you some statistics about our trade relations between Vietnam and India. You may be aware of the fact that India and Vietnam has had an excellent cordial relationship in many fields. That excellent relationship has been made possible thanks to the fact that we started our physical, spiritual, cultural, and civilizational connections 2,000 years back, when the first India merchant went to Vietnam, and after that Buddhism came into Vietnam before it came for the second time via China into Vietnam. And secondly, that good ties has been laid down, the definition of this relationship has been laid down by our first leaders, Prime Minister Nehru and our President Ho Chi Minh, and it has been nurtured by series of following generation of leaders of the two countries. So at the moment, in our foreign policy classification, India stands as one of the three comprehensive partnerships of Vietnam. Therefore, on political matters, economic matters, we are excellent. In terms of trade, over the past 15 years, trade between the two countries have increased by 36 times. Can you imagine that? 36 times. Just 15 years ago, we had only less than $1 billion US trade, and at the moment, that figure has reached more than 12 billion trade. The darker corner of the relationship between India and Vietnam is that we have not had a very brilliant and vibrant investment two-way between Vietnam and India. So investment from India to Vietnam now stands at only 900 million US dollars, and from India to Vietnam is only 35 million US dollars, which is very, very small. Therefore, my embassy is determined to work closely with all the partners in order to increase Indian investment in Vietnam, especially in ITC, because India has advantage on that, number one. Number two, because in that sector, we have a very attractive tax incentive. Having said that, I also want to stress on the latest development which took place yesterday. Yesterday, during the COVID-19, Vietnam received the new Prime Minister of Japan, Mr. Suga Yoshihide, and he has chosen Vietnam as the first country to conduct his overseas trip. And during that, he mentioned that his government will facilitate the moving out of Japanese company in a number of countries into Vietnam. That's number one. And the second good news is that Samsung Hair, the son of Samsung president and owner, visited Vietnam yesterday. Both visits are physical, not virtual like we are doing now. And he got a pledge from my Prime Minister that the government will have in order for Samsung to be able to create the research and development center, biggest one outside Korea, in Vietnam for ITC. So having said that, I want to stress that the opportunity for cooperation in this sector are very, very strong, and the successful startup of HCI is a clear indication of the commitment of the Vietnamese government as well as our embassy staff. And also on the other side, FPT, which is the biggest ITC group in Vietnam, decided to invest in India, and they started up their business in Hyderabad. For your information, the former chairman of the group is my nephew, and my second nephew is the Director General of EPSOT. So we have a very strong, my family basically is a diplomatic family background, but all my nephews work in the IT, most of my nephews work in the IT sectors, and FPT is the success story of Vietnam economy. So with that, I want to conclude by saying that now we want very much to work with you. There are many opportunities, especially we want to learn and apply different applications. I think that the most needed one is on cashless payment application. We are very famous with Paytm, with UPI, and recently the government of Vietnam has issued a directive whereby we ask all the people to conduct the online payment, but at the moment we only have 12% of the transaction conducted online payment. The remaining 88% are still by cash. So that's all on the sector of game, video game, online game is also a very lucrative sector, and there are many trust funds, they are ready to invest. So with that, I would like to thank you very much for participating in this sectoral webinar, and let me conclude by saying that on that sector, I will make myself available to listen to your inquiries in order to make sure that you will be able to go to Vietnam with all the support you need. Once again, thank you very much for your participation, and I thank Akram Ho for hosting together with Embassy this, and I also acknowledge the presence of Mr. Hoàng Anh Tu, who is Deputy Director General representing the authorities of the government of Vietnam and some other key Vietnamese ITC sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Excellency, for the wonderful, short and brief discussion and points on the opportunities in the ICT sector and overall presenting Vietnam to our technology players of the country or from India and Nepal. Now, Excellency, seeing you and your embassy, the kind of active involvement to promote Vietnam across India also shows the kind of leadership that is there in Vietnam and what you actually deserve and how you have been able to achieve the kind of growth that Vietnam has witnessed since last 3 decades. With this, now I want to invite and welcome our chief guest of the afternoon, Deputy Director General of International Cooperation and Development Department at the Ministry of Information and Technology, Government of Vietnam, Mr. Hoàng Anh Tu, to kindly deliver this special address.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Aram Ho. And as Ambassador Phạm Sang Châu has updated you information about Vietnam and also point out some important point here information of Vietnam ICT. Sorry that I don't have enough time to prepare a good slide for you, but I also have prepared some take. So to give you some information about the ICT in Vietnam now. So, you know, in fact, the world is transforming before the happening of COVID-19 pandemic, and the C4IR and digital technology are driving a new phase of globalization and restructuring the global supply chain. So it brings the new advantage for developing countries like Vietnam. The government of Vietnam determined to create the condition for competitive to make Vietnam to be the best player in the region for digital business to come, to grow, and to succeed right in Vietnam. Vietnam also encouraging the foreign company to partner with local industry within priority digital technology sector like smart manufacturing, IoT, AI, big data, blockchain, VR, cybersecurity, fintech, 3D printing, and 5G ecosystem. So you know that the world economy is now entering a new stage, mainly based on technology and innovation. The country who is leading in digitalization will take advantage. So the strategy of Vietnam in attracting investment is maximizing the new advantage of technology. So as following that, we will develop a sandbox regulatory so that company can come and pilot emerging technology in Vietnam. Our Ministry of Information and Communication has planned to work with cross-sector to realize the benefit of digital technology. And upgrading infrastructure with 5G network will be piloted in 2020. Developing IoT and cloud for smart manufacturing and constructing more IT industry and high-tech park to ensure the readiness for large-scale investment of foreign tech firms. Creating a friendly tax system for digital enterprise, the government has delivered highly competitive corporation tax rates and continuing to work on special incentive for attracting more investment in high-tech and digital sector. You know, in June 2020, the government launched the National Digital Transformation Program to build digital government, digital economy, and digital society. Our objective is that the digital economy would account for 30% in 2030. You know, now it's around 10%. So the program has set ambition to create a dynamic digital transformation market in Vietnam. But to achieve this vision will require a joint effort, especially from tech community, including both domestic and foreign companies. So the Vietnam government highly welcomes the investment from India companies, especially the digital technology and ICT company from India. Now, this is good time for you to come and invest in Vietnam. See, the government has the ambition to transform Vietnam to a digital nation. Vietnam's economy grows fast while still maintain positive growth during the COVID-19. Vietnam was the third largest population in Southeast Asia, with over half under the age of 35. And Vietnam had a strong talent pool in digital, nearly 1 million ICT resource pool, and growing at a rate of 10% per year. Vietnam aimed to establish 1,000 tech firms and about 10 startup unicorns by 2030. And they will be your good partner to access the domestic market and to go global. So this all make it a promising market for tech products and services. So once again, I would like to thank the Ambassador Phạm Sanh Châu and the organizer, the policy team, to let me take part and exchange view in this important forum. And I'm very sorry that I could not join you until the end of session, because now in Vietnam, the host country to organize an ITU exhibition, Digital World 2020, and I had to leave about in 30 minutes. So very sorry for that. But if you have any questions, drop me an email at hatu@mic.gov.tvn. I will put it in the chat, or you can go through the embassy of Vietnam in India. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tu, the Deputy Director General of International Cooperation Department, Minister of Information and Technology, for briefly describing the opportunities that are there in the IT sector. During the discussion, we will also show you what kind of incentives Vietnam offers to the ICT sectors across India. And I will be very happy to host you in future also, Mr. Tu, for similar discussions and to have a direct interaction with Indian industry through the embassy. So thank you so much. With this, I want to go to our next speaker of the final speaker of the inaugural session, Mr. Nguyen Thanh Ha, the Chief Executive Officer, Tam Viet Investment Advisory, Vietnam. Mr. Ha, if you are there, can you come in with Mr. Ha?
Yes, good afternoon, Excellencies. Good afternoon, Mr. Akram, for the editor Policy Times, distinguished panelists and guests. So thank you so much, Excellency Ambassador and Mr. Akram, to let me have a chance to speak in very reputable forum. As an investment advisory firms, I witnessed amazing growth of technology and especially IT companies and investment in Vietnam for the last 5-6 years, when the government initiates a very big push for startup and digital transformation. 5-6 years ago, we cannot imagine Vietnam company can attract like $50 million investment from foreign investor. But last year, it's recorded, amazing number, $860 million investment in various technology company in Vietnam, in platform economy, in fintech, in healthcare, and e-commerce. For example, the landmark transaction investment is by ZIC and SoftBank. They invest, $300 million in a platform company in Vietnam named VN Life. It provides platform for Vietnamese people to pay when they buy and sell goods and services, support people when they travel or booking hotel, and that company is, I think, the second unicorn of Vietnam after 10 years of establishment. And it is unbelievable growth of private technology company who we can see is like very successful both the government policies and the efforts by the private sector. Why we can get such a amazing number attract a lot of foreign investor. I think because Vietnamese economy, as Excellency mentions, we now become the fourth largest economy in Southeast Asia, and we become the third largest economy in Southeast Asia very soon. We have increasing middle class and with huge potential for developing a digital transformation, e-commerce, and also the modernized service in terms of health education, to serve both the demand of local, economy, as well as some, technology companies. They go regional or global and reach the the level of unicorn. I think in Vietnam now there are 2 or 3 unicorn technology company, and in the next 10 years, I believe that we can achieve the government objective, have like 10 unicorns, because the trend is going on very well under the very supportive macroeconomic and policy environment, as well as we have a very strong talent pool for IT. We have very talented both student, graduate locally, or Vietnamese overseas. They live and work in ICT in US or Europe, for many years, and now they come back to Vietnam, join local company, big group like Viet Group or other big local company to invest in the ICT industry. It's amazing that we now Viet Group, the biggest property developer in Vietnam, now diversify. They invest to make smartphone, to make and export. More recently, they export their smartphone under the brand of AT&T to the US, and also they found set up a very modernized university just to serve the growing demand for training top student in terms of IT, computer science, AI, and big data. I mean that we experience remarkable and incredible growth in Vietnam private sector for ICT to catch up with the global trend of industrial 4.0 for the last 5 years, and I fully believe that that trend will going on, but a little bit looking at the investor space to invest in Vietnam. That's only big name like SCL choose Vietnam as a destination to develop the outsourcing service hub, with the total huge amount of investment and also huge workforce. That's, I think, the only single Indian investment to Vietnam ICT, and I hope that, and I also believe that more and more investment from India will come to Vietnam, both in outsourcing, industry, or technology with product development. That will happen very soon, and the trend will be very sustained. So thank you so much for letting me have a chance to speak, and I believe that the investment, potential investment of Indian to Vietnam in ICT will be very promising. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Ha, for. Yeah. Hello. With this, we come to the end of our inaugural session. And thank you so much, Mr. Ha, for sharing your views. So Mr. Ha is a single point contact. If anyone from India would like to invest in Vietnam, Mr. Ha is one of the best persons to give you overall a comprehensive view about Vietnam, and especially the investment route. So if you want to set up your plans there. Now, I just want to say a few sentences on Vietnam again, and then we'll go to the second part of our sectoral session with permission from our Excellency. Number one, Vietnam has the connection with two prominent, in fact, three prominent economies of Asia. One, it is neighbored with China. So Vietnam has all the skills necessary to be the manufacturing hub of the world in terms of the skill set that it has from China and it can gain from China, which it has already gained. Second, it is also neighbor to two other prominent economies of Asia. One is Japan in one hand and India on the other hand. So Vietnam and India enjoys absolute seamless relationship, which I think the business community of Asia can explore to the fullest. So Vietnam can be one of the best destinations for your manufacturing hub for the ICT sector. At the same time, it can also be your services delivery hub if you want to serve the world. That is one. The second is Vietnam is the next gateway of Asia to the world. So, we heard about, so Mr. Ruchir Sharma has written a very absolutely fantastic column recently in Times of India, a prominent Indian daily, I think, where he said that the next Asian miracle, the rising tiger, is Vietnam. So the Asia saw the rise of Japan first, then it saw the rise of South Korea, Taiwan before, then it saw South Korea, and recently it is China, which has been a miracle, Asian miracle to the world. The next, without any debate and discussion, is Vietnam. So the next miracle that we are going to see is Vietnam. The more we explore this country, I think the better we will be able to integrate with the world business and economic community of the world. So with permission from Excellency, we'll go straight to the sectoral session, and we will hear some real industry experts from India and now also from Nepal to hear how they can explore, they have been exploring. The first leader that I want to invite is Dr. Pramod Kumar. Dr. Pramod Kumar is the country head of Tech Mahindra, one of the top 5 leading IT consulting companies of India, serving the world. So Tech Mahindra also has operations in Vietnam and many other countries. So I want to welcome and request Dr. Pramod Kumar to share your word of wisdom as to how you are exploring Vietnam. What more can we do between India and Vietnam?
Thank you so much, Akram, for giving Tech Mahindra an opportunity. And good afternoon, Honorable Ambassador, dignitaries, and colleagues of the ICT industry. Good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon, sir.
You rightly said, Akram, we do have our presence in Vietnam since last 2012. And 2014, we have opened our representative company in Vietnam. 2017, we have our registered office in Vietnam. So we do have a very well presence. And as far as you asked me, the area which we are covering the digital space, we are covering the ICT, we are primarily in the BFSI, we are very much involved in Vietnam, the State Bank of Vietnam, and you would be happy to know that just like in India, we have the Tata, in Germany we have the Siemens. Similarly, as far as my knowledge, there is a VinFast, the local car manufacturer. So that car has been designed by the Pininfarina. You know that Pininfarina is one of the highly respected company in the design field in the world, which has been the local car has been designed by that Pininfarina. So we are in the mobility sector, we are in managed services. So total 12 customers we are covering in Vietnam, and I can assure you, as a future planning, we are planning to open an ODC, that's called ODC, offshore data center, that will attracting the local talent of Vietnam. So we have chartered a plan for how we can expand the Vietnam market for the Tech Mahindra. And let me tell you to all of you, as a Tech Mahindra is one of the subsidiary of Mahindra and Mahindra Group. Mahindra and Mahindra is a $21 billion revenue. And Tech Mahindra has $5.2 billion revenue. We are covering 90 countries. And we have 131,000 employees. So Tech Mahindra is one of the top 5 IT multinational companies in the world. I'm sorry. So
please go on. I think I need to mute everyone.
Sure, sure. So if you ask me, then expansion perspective, being such a large multinational IT player of the world, we have no target to expand the Vietnam market, covering the multiple verticals. If I say means domains and verticals, that will cover the government sector, that will have enterprise, that will have the telecom, that will have e-commerce, that will have oil and gas. So I would say education sector, health sector. Primarily, I would say most of the ICT and digital space we are trying to target in the Vietnam. So Vietnam is the prime, I would say country for Tech Mahindra, where we are planning to expand and venture out. That is why I gave a commitment to you. Just like HCL, they have opened their offshore development center. Tech Mahindra also planning in the future to open that development center, depending looking at the potential in the Vietnam. And I would like to thank you so much, Akram. I would like to thank you so much for a respected honorable ambassador and then all the I would say dignitaries of the Vietnam who have opened a gate for the country like a Tech Mahindra, and we are very, very keen to expand our horizon in the Vietnam, covering all the sectors, all the verticals, all the domain. We already have 12 customers we are covering. And let me doubly assure you, Tech Mahindra is the only top 5 multinational. We have already present since last 2012. We already have our registered office. We have our development centers. We do have our licensing sales office. So looking for the business opportunity, larger business opportunity in Vietnam. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for being very short and brief. One question that I see from Rupesh Shah. He's saying, do you have anything on EV space? Can we explore opportunities to join hands on EV infra? So
EV means you are saying the electrical vehicle?
Yeah, I think he is referring to that.
Yes, that is electric vehicles.
Okay, so let me tell you, see, Mahindra and Mahindra, it's larger group, okay? And Tech Mahindra itself, very, very, that Tech Mahindra itself, 90 countries. So my domains are much larger enough. So EV that comes under Mahindra and Mahindra group. Honestly with you, don't want to give you over commitment, but let me check with my parent group that I can revert back to you.
Absolutely. That's the future. I think Vietnam would also be very much interested to explore the electric vehicle segment. So we can have
yes, as far as a electrical vehicle is concerned, of course, India that Mahindra has only launched the electrical vehicle. Just like Tata has also launched the electrical vehicle.
We are already aware, in fact, some of the charger setups we have already done for the Tech Mahindra. In fact, we have done for MG Motors also, we have done for Ashok Leyland also.
Right,
so that setup we have already done. We just wanted to know that do you have set up in-house some tech platform to take this EV infra across the India or across the another countries on the larger ground?
Answer is that yes, we do have. But especially particular to the Vietnam, I'll have to check with my parent group, then I will come back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Pramod Kumar, for being really brief and briefly sharing your views that your presence in different countries. So I would really request you to please be with us to whatever time you can so that we can have a robust interaction with the industry members there. Because we will be really happy to have your knowledge as to how can we collaborate more further. Now I want to request another leader in this space, Mr. Narayan Thapa, who is the Secretary General of Federation of Computer Association Nepal, CAN Federation, one of the prominent institutions in Nepal working in the space of ICT. Mr. Thapa, requesting you to share your views.
Thank you, Mr. Akram. Very good afternoon from Nepal. Honorable Chair, His Excellency Pham San Chau, Ambassador of Vietnam to India, Chief Guest of the ceremony, other representatives from Vietnamese government, esteemed delegates, and ladies and gentlemen. First of all, on behalf of CAN Federation Nepal, I must thank the Embassy of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam in New Delhi and the Policy-Times for this opportunity to share some views to further collaboration between India, Vietnam, and Nepal, especially in the ICT sector. It is good to know Vietnam aims to have around 50,000 IT and electronic and telecommunication companies having a revenue of at least $1 billion each from at least 10 companies from them. These lines are just not aims, actually it inspires us as well. As cited in the invitation, this webinar is to explore trade and business opportunities in Vietnam, and also aims at exploring and leapfrogging possibilities to build business relations between said three countries in ICT. Though I think we need to take this opportunity to know each other and try to find possibilities for mutual benefits as well by generating business in the ICT sector. To begin with, CAN Federation, as Mr. Akram already said, which was formed in 1992, is an umbrella organization in the ICT sector in Nepal, and also an autonomous, non-political, non-profit-making organization. It is similar to NASCOM, National Association of Software and Services Companies India, and VINASA, Vietnam Software and IT Services Vietnam. Though CAN Federation consists of individuals, companies, including academic institutions, training centers, and ICT-related organizations, and that separate us with others. We have 54 chapters all over Nepal and 2 international chapters in the USA and in Japan. And we conduct several events throughout the year. We have a very deep connection with the Nepal government. CAN Federation is a permanent member in several ICT-related executions committees there. Former executive committee member is now working as an information technology consultant of Prime Minister. Also, we celebrate May 2 as a National ICT Day. The Central Cabinet approved that 3 years back, which is actually the establishment day of CAN Federation. CAN Protect, which is the signature event organized by CAN Federation since 1994 each year, is the only ICT-related exhibition in Nepal and largest trade show in the country as well, in terms of visitors, having around 4 lakhs during the event. Several international companies participated in the events, including from India, Japan, China, US, and big companies like Microsoft as well. Possibly in future, companies from Vietnam is the world's second largest manufacturer of phones and components, and the 10th producers of electronic appliances and components can participate in the event, and then that can help them to find business possibilities in Nepal and with Nepal. To brief about Nepal in short, Nepal, obviously the Federal Democratic Republic of Nepal, which lies in Indian subcontinent, basically giant for software services, and China, basically giant for hardware. To share about some current ICT status, ICT-related policies, and already introduces. Digital Nepal Framework, which is encompasses 1 nation, 8 sector, 80 digital initiatives, was passed by cabinet around almost a year ago and currently under execution. World Bank is interested in joint hands, and possibly it will have to structural changes in coming days. It has 8 sectors like digital, foundation, agriculture, health, education, energy, tourism, finance, urban infrastructure, and 80 digital initiatives under these 8 sectors. CAN Federation is also a member in Digital Nepal Coordination Committee, which is led by Chief Secretary. Nepal government, actually, there is also a directorate committee led by Right Honorable Prime Minister. The ITB is in Parliament and under considerations, and both house within the next few months. E-business bill is recently drafted and under consideration. And according to Industrial Enterprise Act 2020, ICT industry recognized as national heritage industry. Nepal's current supervision is 13 events, and to share a few facts about penetration things, mobile penetrations increased exponentially to 113% in 2017 from 21% in 2009, with the robust growth expected to sustain in the next 5 years. Mobile penetration rate comparing with other key Asian countries according to World Bank's report 2016, it was 111% in Nepal, 85% in India, and 124% in Sri Lanka. Internet penetrations, which is currently around 67%, and according to World Bank's forecast again, by 2025, it will be 79%, whereas India will have around 62% and China will have around 75%. So today, 1 in 2 Nepalese citizens have internet access, and 95% of internet users in Nepal use 2G and 3G mobile data. Regarding the websites e-commerce, around 1 lakh CCTLDs are registered and around 60,000 TTLDs are registered, which includes around 40,000 commercial websites. To talk about future collaborations between India, Vietnam, Nepal, actually, especially with India, not only we share a very long, around 1,800 kilometer border, but also linguistic, marital, religious, and cultural ties at people-to-people level. India is Nepal's largest trade partner and the largest source of foreign investments, besides providing transit for almost the entire third world countries trade of Nepal. The total exports to India from Nepal during the Nepalese fiscal year 2017-18 amounted to $446.5 million, and imports from India were about $7.7 billion. It includes everything, including electronics appliances, ICT-related hardware, software, and services as well. Though it is hard to say exact figure about ICT-related and business between Nepal and India. Several ICT companies from India are already doing business here. I'm not sure about the Mahindra, but name a few. I think Wipro is here. Most of the A-class banks are using Finacle, PwC, Price Waterhouse Coopers is also here. Not exactly sure at the moment, though a few years back, a few Indian state governments were using Nepalese software as well. There are several areas where India and Indian companies can help us, including smart city, startup village, exhibiting IT and high-tech parts, etc. Unfortunately, we don't have any dedicated and specific channel to communicate, to share resources between two countries, and this is there. Canon and NASCOM had some MOUs a few years back, though at the moment our community is almost there. To talk about Vietnam, actually, when we got invitations yesterday, we were excited and thrilled because when we think about Vietnam, the Vietnam War comes first. Surprisingly, when I asked my colleague what comes in your mind when you think about Vietnam, most of them replied the same, Vietnam War. Yes, added to tourism after that. Maybe it's because of the media and news and English movies, or also maybe we never try to connect people to people, but any objectives on that level. The embassy of Nepal is not there in Vietnam. I think Nepal's embassy in Yangon looks after that. Similarly, the embassy of Vietnam is not here. Though Vietnam consulate office is here in Kathmandu, we do have a very good relations with the honorary consul, Dr. Rajesh Kari, as he is also the president at Nepal Chamber of Commerce and Can Federation is a permanent member over there. Also, a few years back, the then 500 Fortune companies from Nepal was trying to expand their business in Cambodia and Vietnam, actually a few companies, though through joint venture in Cambodia, though they didn't succeed. After getting invitations and knowing Vietnam's ICT industry posted an average annual growth of 26.1% in 2015-2019, and a major economic sector of the country, which estimated revenue of $110 billion in 2019, and also knowing mobile phones and computers ranked number 1 and number 3 among Vietnam's top 10 export staples in 2019 with a combined value of $28 billion. I had to spend a few hours on the internet to know more about the country and ICT things. Growth rate of around 30% in software sector with over 1,000 software companies employing around 7,000 people, and also competing with India, China, and Philippines to become a destination for software outsourcing as a software outsourcing destination. Actually, according to the research report from AT Kearney, describes its journey towards Vietnam's digital economy and journey and its governance. Can Federation and Vinasa, Vietnam Software and IT Services, we share at least 2 forums together. We both are a member of ASSOCIO, ASEAN Computing Industry Organization, and WIRCHA, All Information Technology and Services Alliances. Though I think we never tried to this kind of program and relations. However, I am hopeful this webinar will open the door for such things. To remember, Can Federation delegates visited Vietnam, I think 2 years back during ASSOCIO event. Actually, India is a giant and a leader. Vietnam can have several stories, and same with Nepal. In the fintech and e-government sector, we are doing well. Recent years, we are also focusing in emerging technologies, AI, IoT, robotics, blockchain, etc. I'm about to finish. Nepal's federal government and provincial government are in the process of starting IT and knowledge parks. We can expect at least 7 to 8 within a few years, and possibly companies from India and Vietnam can come for that. I think for future collaborations, we can have some joint venture initiatives from Nepal's perspective. As Vietnam is doing really well in manufacturing, Nepal's engineers can benefit through internship, paid internship, or fellowship, or a kind of finishing school experience there. And also we can have some other investment collaborations. Also, we can have business meeting visits. That is for sure after COVID-19. High level, high official delegations, including government and private sector, at least once in a year. That can help us for future collaborations. For any business meetings, visit our high official delegations from India and Vietnam to Nepal. We will be happy to assist and will be happy to organize any kind of work, private and government entities. Also in the future, possibly we can think about bilateral committees for ICT similar to bilateral Chamber of Commerce. And for that, this program is a very good beginning. We must find the future and it's following steps for sure. But I must thank the organizers and then to Mr. Akram for founding Educating Policy Times and also for COVID-19, actually COVID-19 for creating these kind of opportunities. Thank you and over to you, Mr. Akram.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thapa, for sharing comprehensively about the collaboration opportunities that we can explore between India, Vietnam, and Nepal. We will be in touch with you to explore such initiatives in the future. So now we have two important and prominent leaders of the ICT sector, and I want to invite them before I invite Vikas sir. Vikas sir, sorry, I'll take a couple of minutes. So Mr. Kunal Sinha, who is the head international operations of Wipro, one of the leading companies, and we have Mr. Firoz Khan, who is partner and head of digital advisory KPMG, one of the leaders who led many merger and acquisitions and many digital advisory initiatives between India and other countries. So first I want to invite Mr. Kunal Sinha, Head International Operations Wipro, to kindly share your views, sir. If you can, I understand that you are in a hilly place now, so you with poor internet connection. So Mr. Sinha, can you hear? Yeah.
Yes, I can. Akram, thank you. Am I audible to all?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much, Wally. My apologies for being in the hills. I thought I would be able to get down to the plains and be able to do this. But on behalf of Wipro, and I want to go back and thank all of you for giving us this opportunity. And I represent Wipro, which is a $9 billion company, approximately 180,000 people across the globe. We have looked at Vietnam, and Vietnam as a country, if you look at it over the last 5 years, especially in the ICT sector, has contributed to a very large, to the level of approximately $2.5 billion USD, with totaling up to approximately 13 to 15% of GDP. And I generally feel that as a country, and especially into the IT sector, Vietnam does hold a great promise in the future. With regards to a technology, from a technology and infrastructure IT perspective, especially with a young generation, English speaking, computer savvy, I do see there's a lot of scope, which I believe Vietnam as a location or as a country has to offer. In fact, what I know little of it is that technically over the last 5 years, we looked at, we were looking at Vietnam, and we foresee that in terms of the manufacturing of phone and components, they are really in the top in the Asian sectors. In fact, I did happen to read some of those IT parks which have been set up in Ho Chi Minh, the Causeway IT Park in Hanoi, and the one in Da Nang are really up to the level of over 80-85% occupancy, which clearly shows that as a country, it has a plethora of talent pool available, which can be utilized by organizations to be able to cater and can be a strategic market to cater to the ASEAN and other global locations. So that's a good benefit that I foresee from that perspective. The only, given that for an organization which is large and tries to look at it, there are a few things that one needs to look at it, is that especially the small and the medium micro enterprises need to be given impetus from the government so that they're able to partner with large organizations and come up to a level which the world currently expects them, because the future is technology and it changes by the day as we talk about. In fact, AI, robotics, you name it, Blue Prism. And if you look at it, these are the future that we believe will go back and shape our nation's economy and how things work across, especially in the COVID times. And if you look at it, technology companies or the IT companies have really not really been affected to the level which is primarily tourism, hospitality, and industry, and which will become a forefront of the things going forward, because the way we do business now will change, has changed and will change, and will determine in terms of how we look at. Our relationship in Vietnam is that we've been looking at Vietnam for especially IT and ICT sector, trying to go back and figure it out in terms of how Vietnam can add as a value, as a strategic location to cater to our Asian and some of our other global, countries. So as a part of the IT representative, I feel that the future is definitely bright, and we foresee with the young generation and the computer savvy and IT savvy, I genuinely feel that there is a scope, and we look forward to more strategic alliances from Vietnam between us to be able to grow locally and to be able to cater down to the domestic as well as strategic market.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Sinha. Is it over, Mr. Sinha?
Yes, thank you very much. And I look forward to, in fact, the team will reach out to get some information with regards to a talent pool availability and the new infrastructure setup, especially on fiber optics that you reckon, which are in those 3 or 4 IT parks across the cities in Vietnam, for us to be able to determine in terms of which we feel we're able to go back and look at as an opportunity for a setup or explore our business requirement matching with what Vietnam as a country has to offer. But thank you very much for inviting me, and I wish everyone in here best of luck and stay safe, and look forward to more second engagements in future.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Sinha, for sharing a comprehensive view again on the topic, because hands-on experience on the ICT sector in Vietnam. I now want to invite and request Mr. Firoz Khan, who is the partner and head digital advisory, having wide decades of experience in the sector from a different angle, from the consulting angle. So from KPMG, to kindly share your views.
Thanks, Akram, and pleasure to be a part of this forum. In fact, Indo-Vietnamese forum, which is a very niche area, and I thought I'll just share my perspective as a practitioner that what do I think in terms of consulting as one of the career opportunities, or one of the opportunities to do business as a collaboration between 2 different geographies. See, I mean, one thing is very clear, that there are data points as an analyst viewpoint which clearly talks about that Vietnam ICT market is really expanding well from 2018 onwards, and there are data which tells that the growth engine is really on, because Vietnam as a geography or as a country really want to empower themselves with the power of the ICT, and this is not only for 1 or 2 industry verticals, this is across sectors. So be it talk about finance, talk about insurance, or talk about aviation, telecom, or healthcare, everywhere we'll see this particular growth engine to be coming up. And then this is again primarily due to various reasons. Why? Because there are new tech parks coming up, new incubation center coming up, new thought process coming up, and that's the reason this really new growth engine is going to come up. Now, since I come from digital background, so definitely I thought I'll share my perspective from digital side, and that too what consulting can bring in over here. See, one thing is clear, that the way, if we see the way the penetration of digital is coming up, primarily seeing the the mobility, the mobile phones, the internet, different marketing activities, the way it is coming up, yes, there's a lot of opportunities which lies in between this. And specifically, if we talk about the e-business or the e-commerce, be it e-payments or maybe that for that matter, it's a digital production or e-learning. So all of this, there's a huge potential which lies between these two geographies, and this is the area wherein there's a lot of innovation which is already happening. And this is one area which I truly feel like that there's a collaboration which can be done between these two geographies, and there's a lot of knowledge sharing and a lot of tech sharing which can happen between this, which will not only sort of empower the economy, but it will also create a path for the growth engine for the future generation to come in. And the other thing which is agnostic to any industry, if we talk about, is the cloud. So cloud computing is one of the area which I feel that it's truly growing, and the demand is coming up from Vietnam also, because since I come from consulting background, I do interact with a lot of Vietnamese companies, and that's how there's a data point which tells that this growth is imminent and it is going to come up. So this is one of the other area wherein we feel that both of the geographies can really create that bonding together to make sure that how do we do the knowledge transfer and how do we really do the tech transfer between these two areas. The other areas which I feel which can really empower the ICT as an industry is the IT security or info security and the IT services, which spans across be it digital solutions or be it enterprise solutions, both the way. See, one thing which is evident is this. Any of the geography, or specifically and categorically, I'm talking about Vietnam and Nepal. So these two geographies, if you see from the start angle or from the consulting angle, there are problem statements to start with, and the problem statements can be business, which can be revenue linked, it can be customers, which can be growth linked, it can be productivity, which can be cost linked, or it can be operating model, which can be people linked. Now, all of these problem statements, if you talk about, really there are levers which can solve this problem, and the levers can be enterprise based, it can be digital based. The main problem is this: how do we really operationalize those levers? And this is the area wherein I think there are a lot of opportunities which lies wherein we can really collaborate between these two geographies and can really take this to next level. And there are a lot of digital options and digital solutions which are already in play, which really sort of disrupts the thought process, or maybe create an environment which changes the legacy, information technology, or creates a new operating model altogether. So these are the things which are really battle proven, tried and tested, and I think both the countries can really reap on the benefit of these technologies. Not only technology, but even when we say even the underlying operating model also. So these are the things which I thought I'll just highlight as a practitioner coming from consulting background. And it's not only the execution, but even it's the thought process wherein how do we really change the the scenario, or change the game. It's primarily problem solving the client situation. So the landing message which I want to give is this, that ICT as an industry definitely is going to change by collaborating between these two geographies, and this will bring in a lot of benefit in terms of economy, in terms of growth, in terms of prospects, and this is going to benefit not only economy but even the operating model and even the future generation also. So that's it from my side. Given the time pressure, I will not exceed on this. So over to you, Akram. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Firoz Khan. Wonderful to have you, sir, for this discussion. Please be with us whatever time you can. I know you are quite occupied. You have already pre-scheduled meeting with this. Kunal sir, my request to him also would be, because you are IT people, you are always busy, and your time is precious. But I'll be very happy if you can stay with us for a couple of more minutes, so that during the interaction, you can give a lot of guidance, suggestions to our industry members. Now I want to invite one of the two. I have two young entrepreneurs now in the space. So Mr. Vikas Gurum and Mr. Shad Rahman. I would request both to come with video. So I want to invite Mr. Engineer Vikas Guru, President of Robotics Association of Nepal, to kindly share your views.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akram, for this opportunity to be able to share with different dignitaries over here present from India, Nepal, and Vietnam. Honorable Pham San Chau, Ambassador of Vietnam to India and Nepal. Glad to be on the event organized by Embassy of Vietnam. It has been a long time, like this kind of collaborative effort hasn't been done together to inter-exchange the business opportunities and also inter-exchange the ICT knowledge and skill sets. So regarding Robotics Association of Nepal, it's a national level association that works in the field of robotics and automation. We do a lot of events that pull together robotics talent from all around the world. We do like international robotics competition here in Nepal. And our domain just don't end in robotics. We work on AI, we work on IoT, we work on drones, we work on 3D printings, slowly merging together with blockchain technologies so far. And we work closely with the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in order to form science, technology and innovation policy. We are closely working with Nepal Academy of Science and Technology. And we are now also working with Nepal Health Research Council, which is going on its digital momentum, and also with Nepal Reconstruction Authority, one of the authorities that focuses on reconstruction because of this earthquake 2015. So far, Nepal has slowly grown up its pace in terms of ICT development. When we track back the history of Nepal getting itself up in the front of ICT, we just can see like it's 10 to 20 years of time where Nepal has grown up itself in fintech, grown up itself in e-commerce, grown itself in robotics and drones. So what lies there is Nepal is slowly gaining its expertise, and Nepal being in a really geographical complex structure, it has a strength that other countries has not been able to utilize. The complex structure gives us space to test these new high-end technologies. So the expertise and the human resources here have a high level understanding about how we can operate the different kind of high-end technologies in different space and domain. With this, I would also like to connect the other fundamentals that Nepal has adopted. There are different opportunities that lies in Nepal, and also how Nepal is strategically taking it forward. The first thing Nepal is putting it forward in internet fundamentals. Internet as a fundamental basis for the development. That's where all ICT works come in, and when we adopt internet, the whole scene of doing the business has changed so far. And in this even COVID-19 period, the e-commerce, the fintech business actually sustained the whole Nepal's economy. And the improvement availability of the spectrums that are used for broadband. And we are also planning to take lead on 5G networks, expanding the fiber broadband networking, having high internet speed in government office spaces as well as different spaces of the country, having a Nepal cyber security centers, special zones for IT sectors, digitizing all the government works and making it e-governance 2.0, going on paperless, having Wi-Fi hotspot for people to utilize different tools and technologies. So these fundamentals actually showcase how Nepal has shaped up itself in terms of ICT businesses. It's opening an opportunity for local grown businesses to start themselves up, as well as also opening an opportunity for companies in other countries like India, Vietnam to come and build their base. Other thing behind this is these companies which are really growing in fintech, robotics and automations, also can do their expertise in other countries. So it's all about exchanging the business knowledge and skill sets to each other. So when I had to come into the conclusory part, Nepal has adopted this digital Nepal framework. So as Mr. Narayan Thapa has already mentioned that we have like 8 different sectors as focused area. So this digital Nepal framework particularly put its priority on it. And this also opens an opportunity for companies in India and Vietnam to come in these 8 different sectors that I would like to highlight. Agriculture, healthcare, education, energy, tourism, finance, urban infrastructure, and connectivity. So these are like 8 different areas, sectors where the opportunities are growing. And it's predicted like this digital Nepal framework will produce economy of $8 billion by 2022. So which is also a good opportunity for companies who are looking to come in Nepal and also bring Nepal's talent to the other part of the world. So in summary, the digital Nepal framework is somewhere I see the collaborative opportunity with the companies from India and Pakistan. Another is Nepal is highly renowned for its outsourcing Nepali talents and skills. And 33% of Nepal's GDP actually depends on remittance. So we have a high talent skill set, and also it's a cheap labor. Definitely Vietnam is growing as a highly populated country, but still when we talk about exchanging the high talent skills from Nepal to Vietnam, there's always a possibilities of opportunity. And another what I see is, since Nepal and Vietnam is growing in its fast pace, so there's a business partnership and knowledge exchange between the tech companies here in Nepal and Vietnam, and also to the India. So when we talk about robotics, Nepal was one of the early adopter and one of the first company to introduce waiter robot in its restaurant in Southeast Asia. So similarly, in terms of drone technology, the drone mapping technology has been implemented widely throughout the nation. So this kind of expertise can also be exchanged between the Vietnam and Nepal. The final, but not the end, technology adaptations and technology implementation. What I see is, as one of our previous speaker mentioned, we are focusing on bringing 10 different unicorns in Vietnam. So these unicorns technologies can be adapted here in Nepal, and the investors from Nepal can partner together with them. Platforms like NRNA could be bring together in the common point, and we can adapt this technology, and Nepalese NRNAs can invest on it, and then we can implement here in Nepal as well. So it's all about exchanging the business opportunity. That's all from my side. I see a lot of prospect in terms of business exchange and ICT business opportunities. Nepal is slowly taking its pace. Its growth rate is really good. Even in this during this pandemic, the growth rate has been shown positive, which is when we compare to the other nation in our region, we are on a good side. So the growth rate is high. Its global innovation index is now around 90 rank, and it's a third among least developing countries. So Nepal has this innovative mindset and growing slowly in innovations. So these innovative mindsets and innovations that are being developed here in Nepal can be extended to Vietnam, and Vietnam's technology can also be taken here, and we could expand those technologies here in Nepal. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Guru, for quite comprehensively also briefing our audience about the opportunities that we can explore. And definitely AI, ML, and robotics are the future. Now I want to invite our final speaker of the afternoon, Mr. Shad Rahman Khan, who is the Chief Executive Officer and founder of Fixment Technologies. So when I read his first story in a prominent daily, is that Mr. Saad wants to fix every gadgets in the country. I was really happy to see the heading. He wants to fix everything. And then when I started following the company and the growth, it has been one of the fastest growing companies in the service and repairing business in India. And I think very soon it will be one of the largest companies of India. So, Mr. Shad Rahman, over to you. You have to unmute. You have to unmute yourself to speak, Mr. Shad.
So thank you so much, Mr. Akram, and for this warm welcome and your kind gesture. So, and giving me this opportunity to share my views on this important topic. So, first of all, I would like to say a big hello, namaste from India to all of my colleague in ICT sector, and to all the dignitaries who are today, and Honorable Ambassador. We heard all of you, and personally, I feel that there was too much of a talk related to entrepreneurship and too much of a talk related to how we can see things in a better way, and that has, had actually opened many verticals, because if we have such great minds working on the right cause, I'm truly thinking of a better future together. So, because I'm the last speaker, I heard every single out here, so I'm very, very sure with this opinion, because such positivity can only take us forward for the long associations and business opportunities and all things together. So, Fixment Technologies Private Limited is one of the fastest growing companies in India, and we are basically improving the service sector of India by introducing new technologies into service sector. And our platform basically works on the AI ML platform, where we are trying to adopt and try to where we are trying to read the data in a way that it can support the business and the consumer, and it end up giving a fine service to the consumer every single time. So as we all know that this technology, the best part of this technology, that it keeps on growing and learning from its own design and architecture. So that's what the best logic of this opportunity is, and it has opened many gates in many sectors. If I see finance, it's totally changed now. If I see service, if I see IT, if I see manufacturing, I think there is a hell lot of a revolution going on, and everybody wants to come first or be the one who actually change something and has to come with an idea or to have an impression. And that's the positive sign. Today, guys, is the actual era of where we can actually make a mark. So personally, I have a keen interest, because I'm into a solid business of service. I have a very keen interest in service industry, that how we can improve this overall industry with the introduction of new and better technologies. Also, because we are national distributors for many of the brands, and our special interest is in electronics, which is directly connected to the manufacturing of electronic goods and items. And we have been a past experience of doing a lot of business with China and countries like South Korea. So I can definitely say that after seeing the positivity growth in the past few years of Vietnam, as a businessman, I'm very positive that somehow we can take great opportunities all together. And I would like to raise this point, which is very, very important, that if you want to have that sort of a growth that we are looking forward to, we should definitely promote entrepreneurship. So there are two basic things that I would like to highlight. One is the entrepreneurship, and another is the data scientists. So the data scientist is something that this kind of education should be promoted in both the countries. If you, let's say, should be promoted in all the countries which are in this discussion, or may not be in discussion, because that's where we can have the bridge. That's the building technology. We can have the access faster. we can do the production faster, we can estimate, and we can play safe. So that's where this technology helps all the industries, and basically what I have seen in my industry. So we after we have been our honorable Prime Minister has initiated the program of vocal for local and manufacturing in India. Our country has been working, and we have as I think most of the people know that how vast and how diversified our country is in not just exporting goods but also importing goods. And we are looking forward to several associations all together in which we can create a lot of jobs. Being in this business for the last 3 years, we have created more than 3,000 dedicated jobs in some of the cities of the country, and we feel very positive that we're not just supporting the people who are coming from a rich background, but we're also supporting people who are coming from backgrounds where they are judged on their normal skills. So we are giving opportunities to those people as well who are underprivileged. So entrepreneurship is something that has to be pushed strongly, because that's the only thing which is going to deliver results fast. So if you want that, this population, this in Nepal, in Vietnam, in India, they create opportunities for each other. The entrepreneurship has to be supported with incubation centers, with finance and capital whenever they are required, with the government policy. So all together it has to have a perfect blend in order to get the right entrepreneur on the track. No matter whatever age it is, entrepreneurship has no age limitations. So my advice that when these bigger companies, when I hear Mr. Pramod talking about how exactly the company is doing so well in Vietnam, I feel that there's a lot of scope when these big companies can go and just start working over there and have such a strong presence in such a less amount of time. I think young entrepreneurs, the upcoming entrepreneurs, and the entrepreneurs from India and Vietnam and Nepal can definitely create a lot of opportunities in terms of, because internet is everywhere. Now there is no boundaries. We all are connected, and even any transaction, even any import it has become very easy these days. Now we got to see the positive sign of doing any kind of a business, and I think that these associations would definitely means our work in entrepreneurship and the future altogether would definitely add great value to the overall system. So that's my.
Thank you.
I would like to have. Thank you so much for inviting me and having me. We keep on working on the positive side so that we can bring about a solid change in the service industry with the new technology available and for a bright future altogether.
Absolutely.
We are positive for the business of, we definitely want to work with, because we are looking for some positive other countries where we can start our work with, and I think Vietnam is one of the very upcoming and rising countries we are looking forward to, and even we have our own community where we discuss about how and what we need to do further. So I think that's the positivity, and
right.
We'll look forward to it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khan, for sharing your view. I think Vietnam is also a wonderful market that you can explore after India, after actually reaching out to India. I now want, so with this we come to the end of our sectoral session. If the Excellency is here, I would request him to kindly come to the camera and share a few words post the discussion, and then we will open for a couple of question answers. With this, then my colleague Mr. Puit will give the final vote of thanks. So, Excellency, if you can hear us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Excellency, a few words about the program.
Mr. Boy will
propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the Embassy of Vietnam and the organizer of the webinar. I have been following the discussion over the past nearly more than 2 hours, and I think that is very, very insightful and useful. I think that the takeaway for all of us now is that we need to move to concrete action. One of the proposals made by various panelists is that we need to take care not only of the big ITC company, but also the small one and facilitate them. Number two, it's not the ITC is very diverse, so we need to also to work into other new sectors under the 4.0 society. Present at this webinar, Mr. Bui, who is our Trade and Investment Counselor, and we also have Ms. Zoom, who is in charge of the non-dossier at the embassy. So please contact them if you need any assistance from the Embassy of Vietnam. So once again, I thank you very much for your active participation and deliberation during this webinar. And have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Excellency. So we'll take a couple of questions. So if there are, then I think we'll go to the final part of the discussion. So any questions or queries with regards to the discussion, especially on ICT sector? Just for 5 minutes, we'll have a small chat. If anyone would like to share any view or any feedback or any question. So in fact, I see a lot of active messages in our WhatsApp, in our chat, actually Zoom chat. So we will collect and collate all this thing. We are also conducting a small survey. So my team will send you the survey link. We will also share the link here also. So my request would be to kindly share your feedback, how you like the discussion and what improvement can we bring in so that it leads to the action agenda that the Excellency just mentioned, because we just don't believe in talk. We actually want to achieve some ground, reality. And our purpose is not to waste 2 hours of time, but also what can we take it from here. So I think IT sector, people don't believe in talks. Had it been in tourism or textile, we would have hundreds of questions. So that is why IT sector is different, and people always love actions than talks. Okay, so I'm really thankful to all of you. Policy Times is a developmental media cum strategic alliance of business and policy advocacy people. We have been working with the embassy since last 1.5 years. The first interview that I did with Excellency since then, we are connected, and Excellency saw some merits or some talents in us, and he gave us an opportunity to work with him. Since then, Policy Times has been working and growing leaps and bounds. So I'm also very happy to announce that we have a small chapter in Nepal now. So very soon we will be expanding in Nepal in terms of reaching out to the people. And then we also have a small setup in Bangladesh. Very soon we will have the business community of Bangladesh and Nepal connected with us. We will be doing a lot of advocacy. And we are already doing it in Vietnam, with Vietnam, under the guidance and leadership of Excellency, one of my well-wishers and supporter of the Policy Times growth and story. With this, Mr. Kamadip, you wanted to, I think, yeah, please, you want to ask a question.
Yeah. Firstly, good afternoon to all my colleagues, especially the Excellency and Mr. Akram. You give us opportunity to try to make a collaboration with Vietnam friends. I have a couple of questions. The Connecting Patient LLP basically in the field of education, tourism, and health tourism, or you can say healthcare, pharmaceutical. Excellency, my question is, what is the scope of orphan or unlicensed medicine in Vietnam? I'm talking about the drugs, the life-saving drugs, the medicine which is not available in Vietnam. Excellency, can you answer me?
Yes, I can. Can I have the floor now? Or I wait for another couple of other questions.
Yeah.
Then I answer.
Okay. I have the other question is, Excellency, what is the guidelines for foreigners if someone will travel from India to Vietnam? Are the person should be quarantined for 14 days? This is for tourism perspective.
Okay. Any other questions?
The other thing is, this 2020 we introduced the air ambulance. If anyone looking for air ambulance globally, we can airlift the patient globally along with organs. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Over.
Thank you so much. Any other individual or any other participants who want to ask any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, hi, I'm Naman Bhatnagar from Squareboat. So basically, just to give you a brief, Squareboat is a product development company based out of Gurgaon. So I'm representing Gaurav Gupta, the founder of the company here. So my question is, as I heard the whole conference and a lot of opportunities were discussed. So I wanted to know if the government of Vietnam is looking forward to digitalize their own infrastructure as India is doing. Just for an example, India is expanding itself in terms of Digital India initiative or e-governments or e-marketplace, GEM portals. So those kind of things are happening in India. So is the government of Vietnam also looking forward for such things?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Naman, for the question. Anyone else?
I have one more point, but it is not a question. It is only a concern. We are looking for Vietnam doctors who can travel to India and they can work with us, together, and we can share our technology to Vietnam. Also, like the robot surgery and all this. So we're looking for the collaboration in the same. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Excellency. Now, if you'd like to respond.
Well, I received around 4 questions. The first most important question is about digitize Vietnam. As I made my point in my opening remarks, the government of Vietnam decided to shift aggressively to digital Vietnam, and it has also been mentioned in the document of the party, which is going to be adopted at its 13th National Congress early next year. So we different ministries and agencies will come up with different programs for the digital Vietnam. So I hope that Mr. Ha, who is the CEO of the Viet Advisory Committee, who is present here, if you need any further clarification or guidance, you can contact that directly to him. On the pharmaceutical, we have had already a separate webinar focusing on pharmaceutical opportunity in Vietnam, and we also mentioned that we should have a pharma hub of India in Ho Chi Minh City, and we are working closely with Ho Chi Minh City Business Center and Investment Promotion Board in order to facilitate the creation of that pharma hub, perhaps with the trading of generic drugs first, and then to promote the joint venture between a Vietnamese company and an Indian company for the manufacturing of drugs. So it is on the way. The third question about travel, at the moment, India still being considered as the red zone. So we don't have any bubble travel arrangement with India. We do have 6 countries, and we are expanding that. But for the time being, I don't think that India will be on the loop soon. Nevertheless, we try to organize on a monthly basis a flight with Indigo to facilitate the coming to Vietnam by Indian business people. We have INDO have organized, I think, 2 trips in the month of September and October. They are going to organize the next one in November, tentatively on 20th of November. So basically, we try to maintain the travel arrangement for business people, but there is growing concern in Vietnamese authorities of the fact that out of foreigners coming to Vietnam, India comes first as the imported cases. Because so far we have more than, including all the 3 travel, we have more than 20 Indians tested positive. And the last point about ambulance airlifting, I thank you very much for that. But I don't think it's suited the context of today's webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Excellency. We have one more person raised the hand. That if that can be the final question, Mr. Shashikant Kanur. So please ask your questions. One more question I can see, Mr. Bhatnagar. Mr. Naman Bhatnagar has just asked the question. Mr. Kanur, would you like to ask?
Hello.
Yes. Please.
Is it audible?
Yes, you are audible. Please go on.
Yes. Your Excellency, good afternoon. So my question is not any complicated. It's just it is a request to share the text information of today's speeches and all to our email IDs, because at a stretch the type of investments, the mode of investments, terms, conditions like that, it is very difficult to follow. Therefore, I request to share the text information of today's speeches, the contents to our email IDs.
Thank you, Mr. Kanur. We will get back to you on this.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Or else we'll just wind up the discussion.
Actually, I asked about the digital Vietnam thing, and His Excellency has already answered it. In his answer, he mentioned some CEO, which I was not able to follow. It would be great if I can know the name or maybe the email ID of a person so I can connect him with him later.
Sure. Final call for any questions, and then I will request my colleague to end the program. Official board of things. Okay. So with this, may I request now Mr. Bui Thong, the head of trade section at the Embassy of Vietnam, to kindly deliver the official final vote of thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Akram. Your Excellency Ambassador, distinguished speaker, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to offer the time on this occasion. First and foremost, I would like to thank our Excellency Ambassador due to his very busy schedule, but he spared time with us, and we are all inspired by your great words. I also express my sincerity to Mr. Phang Anh Tu, DDG of Ministry of Information and Technology, Government of Vietnam. But due to another engagement, he cannot join with us at the end of the program. But his speech is we also thank for his contribution and informative speech. We also would like to thank our dear brother, Mr. Nguyễn Thanh Ha, the CEO of Tam-Viet Investment Advisory, who has worked with our embassy to develop the relationship between India and Vietnam in ICT sector. And as I saw in the chat box, Mr. Ha already mentioned his contact details there. One gentleman just had questions, so you can see the chat box, or you can contact with Mr. Akram or with our embassy. We are very grateful to Mr. Thapa, Secretary General, Federal Computer Association of Nepal, for his performance and share information on the business opportunity in Nepal, and also his view on collaboration between Nepal and Vietnam. We also would like to express our sincerity to many prominent speakers, Mr. Perokan, and Dr. Pramod Kumar, country head of Tech Mahindra. Actually, our embassy have very close with Mahindra and Maria, not only the tech sector, even in many other sectors also. I have chance to visit Mahindra in Mumbai with Excellency Ambassador twice, and we have many area cooperation with Mahindra. And we also would like to thank Mr. Kanun Sinha, the head international operation of Wipro. Maybe we have not seen the Wipro present in Vietnam, so we would like to work with Wipro, and we talk about the business opportunities there. And we also would like to thank Mr. Bikan Gurung, President of Robotic Association of Nepal, and he also share a lot of information about the business opportunity, and maybe we will would like to work with you more to have the action plan to do maybe another business webinar between India and Vietnam and Nepal. And we also would like to thank Mr. Sas Seman, CEO and founder of Fishmark. And we also would like to thank all the distinguished participants present here today who have accepted our invitation. And I thank the member of media for their interest in covering the event. Last but not least, I would like to touch this opportunity to record my heartfelt thanks to my dear brother and friend, Mr. Akram Hock, and the policy team, and also my team in Embassy of Vietnam for their contribution in making the webinar result a success. Ladies and gentlemen, our embassy here to work with you, and we please do contact with us if you have any query or any action plan to invest in any sector in Vietnam and India. And we are happy to share with you that our embassy just launched the website, official website of embassy. And I just saw on the screen, you can see, and please visit and explore the enormous business opportunity. My contact, our contact detail also there. You can visit, and if you have any query or any question, you can contact us. We are very happy to address to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Thong, for the final official vote of thanks. Last year, when we were celebrating third year of comprehensive economic partnership between India and Vietnam, the embassy did more than 40 events across India to sensitize and brought Indian industries together. Under this year, as we are celebrating the fourth year of comprehensive partnership, and also Indo-Vietnam Business Forum 2020, I think there will be many such programs to follow. Many will be virtual and some will be physical when time permits. We'll be extremely happy to collaborate with you, Policy Times and the Vietnam Embassy, and work with you to the growth and prosperity of both nations, India and Vietnam. So with this, Excellency, if you can officially announce the finally closer of the session. Thank you.